Thank you for sending me a text that I had no sound. I should be good now. Oh, I just got another connection. All right, so we're gonna rock this out. Thank you all for bearing with me. So I'm gonna freestyle this yet again. My name is Vernon, and we are what's your excuse me. We are Happy Meal Diet. We are here to help you lose your first 10 pounds every single day. Me going live, well, Monday through Friday, going live at 8:45, bringing you the happy news because why? We need more positive out there. And I've got lots of experience. And if I can help you all be happier, we're going to do it 15, 20 minutes at a time, trying to give you practical wisdom, practical knowledge that you can start using right now. Today is a continuation, part 4 of taking responsibility for your life, for yourself, and really going out there and make these changes happen that you really, truly want. You desire, and you know that you need. So what I've been doing is this 5-part series, and today is part 4. And what I wanted to initially talk about, I want to kind of put that to a side, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But I got a great message, and it was talking about feelings and how do you take responsibility because those feelings are there, and I don't think we get enough credence and we give enough kind of noticings to feelings in regards to moving forward and taking responsibility for your life and taking more responsibility through these changes. Your feelings are part of the journey. Your feelings are everything. I'm not here to discuss the validity of them. I'm just kind of giving you a different way of looking at your emotions. Because one huge thing that helps you understand exactly what's going on is how you kind of interpret that message inside. And that's what those feelings are great for. But without enough data there, you could interpret them almost negatively. You could misinterpret it because that same feeling of anxiety for you could be a same feeling of excitement for another, which could be a same feeling of hunger for one person. So my goal is always to kind of tease some things out to make this journey even easier and or at the very least to give you some more understanding. Whenever you are doing something that is different, that is new, that is something that you are putting yourself in the driver's seat for in life, it can be incredibly uncomfortable. I talked about this last week. I talked about this week. I'm working on so many things personally and professionally, just to take more responsibility, to take change. And a lot of my clients are getting new jobs. They're working on becoming, updating their resumes, working on getting different partners, working on getting their entrepreneurial journey started. These are changes. These are responsibilities that people are just forwarding for. I think the greatest definition of success that I've ever heard came from Earl Nightingale, where he said that the best definition of success that he had ever heard was any man or woman in pursuit of controlling their, what is it? Any man or woman who is in pursuit of controlling their destiny with using by their own intentions, meaning that they decided that they want to make these changes. No one else defined it other than themselves. And when you're going out there, your feelings are something that is so flipping real. And when you start feeling things, you're going to have a conversation right here and now with something you might have experienced last year, last week, or 2 to 5 years ago. And those feelings are not there to bring you back. They can be because what you feel is not reality. I mean, what you feel is what you feel. It can be a reality because it's there to kind of keep you there in some cases if you let it, and if you use it to benefit you and leverage it, it can be the same thing that pushes you ahead. But let's talk about this. When you start making some changes in life, and I'm going to use a gym metaphor, I'm a big gym guy, and I have been for the last 20 plus years. Whole different conversation there. But whenever you are in my gym heads can appreciate this. For anybody who's, stepped into a gym and saw weight and like, hey, how can I do this? You'll get it. But the first time that you go under the bar, and I'm just using a bench for example, you pick that bar up. You feel it, right? And then you feel the weight, but then as it literally feels like it just travels throughout your body, you feel this doubt. You feel this hesitation. You feel this worry. You feel this concern. You just feel so many different things. And in some way, shape, or form, especially if you have never done it before, I'll speak to me when the first time I do something, maybe, 3, 4, 500 pounds or something years ago when I was bitten, but I was so focused on those numbers, you feel the doubt. You hear a little voice that says, can you do this? It could say, what are you thinking doing this? It could even say, you a damn fool to be doing this. But you're going to have some voice inside of you that says, what are you thinking? Now, some people might not. Now, my experience with a lot of different people, including myself, has been you feel that. That voice is not there to scare you. That voice is there to kind of bring you front and center. Like, this is serious. We need to make sure we're using all our resources. We need to pay attention. This is something that is going to light us up. We need all systems firing. And this is to be expected. I'm always talking about my gingerbread. He is my buddy. He just lost his first tooth last night, so I'm super excited about that. Check my Facebook post. You'll see it. I'm super excited. But when you're a child, and I'm always using metaphors for children, especially mine, because it's the same exact thing. We're always telling our children to do new things. We're always challenging our children to take responsibility. What did you do in your room? Did you talk to your teacher? Did you look in the eye? We took responsibilities, and it was easier when you had someone kind of giving you guidance. As adults, we forget that we still need that same guidance. There's nothing wrong with you by needing someone to say, hey, have you thought about it like this? What really matters? As adults, we tend to shy away from that because we feel like we should know. Because there's a piece of us here that's built into us instinctually that has that sense that we should know. But reality is, how can you know if you don't know? So it's brand new. But when, I told my son, hey, go ahead and venture out and go to a new part of our neighborhood. And, I let him lead that. And when he goes down, I see him. When he's down that familiar street, he's just riding, la, la, la. He's laughing, he's joking. He might notice cars. He might look for cars, but he's not really, going bonkers, paying attention like too much. You just kind of get used to it, right? It's kind of like how we kind of go in our normal lives. But when you do something new, when you go down that new path, when you go to that new job, when you go to that new bar or restaurant to meet someone, when you go and you say, hey, I want to take this entrepreneurial journey, and you go to a networking meeting, that sense that you get when all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to pay attention, and back to my son, he's riding, and I could see his head in his helmet. He's looking around. And I can see his pedals are just like a little bit slower because he's kind of taking it in. And when we're as adults, we forget that we need to take some things in. And we're not going as fast as we typically would like. And then sometimes we can internalize those feelings and start making those feelings seem as though, something's wrong. Why am I not moving as fast? It's because it's new, Kadumbo. It's new. When you're riding, you don't know what's a danger, what's a threat, what's a new scent. Wow, could it be a fire? It could be so many different things. You don't know. The part of your brain that's designed to keep you safe, to keep you, alive, is like literally boom, wide open. So you need to have those emotions there. There's nothing wrong with them. I know people say, hey, do it scared. And, I've even made posts about that itself. But, I really want to break this down because I'm not saying that, you're a coward. I'm just giving you some explanation of why. One of the reasons why. But as he's pedaling and I'm just watching him and I just see it and he's just looking around. He turns back and looks at me because it's one thing to do something new, but it's another thing and you feel uncomfortable. But one I'm a huge fanatic of, and I always tell adults it's another thing to do it scared, but when you do it while someone else is there, that support is everything. We need support. The same support that we give children is the same. That support changes a little bit, maybe with language, but the presence of people there as you're doing it does not change. It doesn't. We need that. Adults, listen up. You can do this by yourself all you want. You can go out and build this multi-million-dollar business, but let me tell you something. Being on a yacht by yourself is not fun. Don't do it. I've talked to way too many people who've got these great things and they never develop that sense of community to make sure they had people who have their back. This is why I'm a fanatic of doing stuff with many people, multiple people, or at least one person. It's different to be scared when you have someone there to give you support. Because in some cases, you might even front, fake, or act like, no, I'm good. Inside, you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm doing this. So when my son's riding the bike, he looks back at me and I know what that look means. He's like, let me see what daddy's face is looking like. Let me see what's he doing? Because if I'm not cool and collected, he knows he shouldn't be cool, but I'm just riding the bike. And then he hears a dog. And of course, he's like super alert about it. And he still keeps pedaling. Eventually, he comes back to our street. And so he's like, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, now go ahead and do it again. That's when those other emotions start coming back up, because whenever you do something that you've never done before, you're taking more responsibility. Maybe you've done it before, but it's been a while. There's this self-doubt that happens after your accomplishment. Did I do it? This isn't for everybody, but some of us, myself is definitely included in this. It was, can I do it without that support? Did I really do it? Did all of a sudden through inertia that I built enough momentum and I didn't fall over? Just all these things meaning that I didn't really accomplish that. Something took it away. And I would tell my son, and I do always tell my son, do it again. And he's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this again. And I could see it. And I'm like, you've got this. You got it. And you could just see his shoulders relax and he goes. We still need that as adults. We still need it. Gym metaphor, gym guy. Whenever you do bench, anybody who's lifting weights, anybody who's never lifted a weight that they never thought they could lift, the first time you get under that bar, and I'm going with bench here, there's doubt. There's no doubt. When you grab that weight, you're like, what am I doing? I can't believe this. What the hell is going on? You need spotters. You need people to say, I got you. Because this internal conversation is real. It is real. It's one thing to intellectualize change. It's one thing to intellectualize responsibility. Take responsibility and let me show you who shows up when nobody's around, when you're by yourself. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. When the real person shows up, the real person shows up. We all have self-doubts. We all worry if we're not good enough. But by having those external spotters, by having, with my son, I'm right behind him saying, you got this. By being close by, it creates this sense of like support. We need support. That lockdown affected more people than what we can imagine. Support is everything. So when you got that weight, you're doubting, you got those spotters and you say, come on, get it up, get it up. And the guys I used to live with, give a big shout out to Bob the Builder. They were vicious and they were savage. Once you pick it up, only way it's coming down is on your chest. And if you want it to come up, you're pushing it. And you need that type of this, you're going to do it, because do or die or do it or don't is real. No, there's no plan A, plan B. It's just plan A, go forward. And when you're going down and you're pressing that weight, it's shaking, you're scared, you're riding that bike, you're going to that job interview, you're practicing for that interview. I always suggest that you practice, by the way. Practice, practice, practice. Practice. That's what confidence is. In many ways, it's a form of practice. Once you've done it enough times, you become so confident with it because you've seen it before. But once you've practiced it, or once you've, said, what could I say to, this guy or girl that you want to take out? Once you said that, hey, I can't get this LLC, you're shaking, you're nervous. I hope I did this right. That's normal because you haven't seen it before, or you maybe haven't seen it in a while. But then as you push up, you're like, oh my gosh, it starts going. And, you do the interview, they're having questions, you're having questions. And then you're going to hit possibly the sticking point where it's like, oh my gosh, they asked me this question I didn't expect. And then it wakes you up even more. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to make a mistake. And then the beauty of having support is you'll hear something like this. And in my case, I'm going to show you exactly what Bob did to me. Pick it up, bitch. And a part of my language here was foul, but that woke me up enough to get me out of my head and back into what I needed to do. And I just immediately pushed through those things. And it's the same exact mechanism when you're taking more responsibility and you're focusing and you're managing those changes. Support makes it easier. Those feelings are part of your journey. By you being so conditioned to say, hey, I feel these emotions and they're here to keep me safe. They're not here to rob me of life. Those feelings are there to keep you safe, but with the support, you create this authentic person who knows. And I'm kind of shy about using that word authentic because I feel like it gets overused. But when you're speaking to the true self, is the language that I prefer, the language that I use. The true self literally lights up and it gets excited. Because the true self knows that I created a whole new belief system in me. I did something that I could never have thought possible. That right there will build your confidence and boost your confidence up through the roof. So those emotions are actually just this big anchor to let you know. It's a setup that to let you know that you're going to be even better than. And once you do things like that on a regular basis, you have no choice but to be confident. Because you don't see it as a reflection of what's wrong with you. You don't see a reflection of your income. You don't see a reflection of your maybe your ethnicity or your religion. You let go of all these other things that society tells us. You, the true self, says, I can do this. You have no choice but to be confident. But those emotions are there for a reason, because everybody wants the confidence, but people don't want that step before. That's the self-doubt. That's the worry. That's concern. Self-doubt. Guess what? I've never done it before. That's a fair thing to doubt. The worry. I hope this goes well. That means you care. These things are positive and they're part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some times when it's a bit too much that might not be working with you. But what I want you to do, my goal here is to make sure that you understand those emotions are part of your journey, good, bad, or indifferent. Those emotions ultimately would help you become more and more confident. Emotions are part of it. This is part of your journey. That's what your emotion is there for, to give you some comfort, but also to let you know that you have a heartbeat and that you care. I will see you all tomorrow, 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central, teaching you how to own your happy every single day, 15 minutes at a time. I went a little bit over. Thank you all who hung in there, had some tech issues. Vernon out.